the United States will not participate in the 2018 World Cup, but as part of a unified bid with Mexico and Canada, the country is likely to host the majority of the 2026 World Cup. And as the bidding process ramps up and FIFA prepares to announce the winner next June in Moscow, it remains unclear how many U.S. cities would stage matches. 32 metro areas in the 3 North American countries, including 25 in the United States, remain in contention, with organizers planning to trim that figure to between 20 and 25 before submitting the formal bid to FIFA ahead of the March 16 deadline. On a conference call with reporters Tuesday, John Christic, executive director of the United Bid Committee, said the final decision on the number of venues would be made in consultation between the winning campaign and FIFA in several years. Morocco is the only other candidate. We're working on the basis of a World Cup that would be played in somewhere between 12 and 16 venues, he said. As it relates to how that math ultimately plays out, between the 3 countries, that will be discussed and determined down the road. With an expanded number of teams, 48, and matches, 80, starting in 2026, the final number of venues is expected to fall on the high end of that scale. In 2014, Brazil used 12 stadiums in 12 cities for the 32-team, 64-game tournament. Next summer, Russia will have 12 stadiums in 11 cities. If the North American bid is successful, the United States would stage 60 matches, and Mexico and Canada 10 apiece. Mexico proposed 3 cities, Mexico City, Guadalajara and Monterrey, and all are expected to make the final cut. Canada has 4 remaining candidates, Toronto, Montreal, Edmonton and Vancouver, with probably 2 hosting games. So if Mexico ends up with 3 venues and Canada 2, the United States would receive between 7 and 11. Although most, if not all, are fully capable of hosting a major sporting event, FIFA would take into account the cost of using more than 16 venues. Each stadium would require upgraded security, media expansion, full-time staffing and logistical preparations, while each city would have to work with the organizing committee and FIFA on tournament infrastructure. That's certainly a factor you have to look at in terms of each venue you add. There's a different component of costs, Christic said. But equally we believe across these 3 countries we can put together a fantastic set of venues, and we'd love to see a higher number of venues as opposed to a smaller number of venues, to spread the wealth as far as we can. At the right time, we will sit down with FIFA and go through the process to determine that. Neither the United Bid Committee nor FIFA has commented on potential U.S. venues, but based on geography and facilities, the favorites seem to be the metro areas of Boston, New York, Washington, Atlanta, Miami, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. Other top contenders, Philadelphia, Orlando, Denver, and Phoenix. The rest, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Charlotte, Tampa, Detroit, Nashville, Minneapolis, Kansas City, Salt Lake City, and Las Vegas. Natural grass would have to be installed months in advance in stadiums with artificial turf. Cities that aren't selected will remain in the running for team training centers, the international broadcast centers and final draw. Ahead of the U.S.-hosted 1994 World Cup, Las Vegas staged the draw. Location could work both positively and negatively for cities such as Philadelphia and Baltimore, who, in the Northeast Corridor, are competing with Boston, New York and Washington, all of which hosted 1994 World Cup matches. When you look at the size of the North American region, ensuring that we make it as easy on players and fans, it's something we take into consideration, Christic said. When you look at the Northeast and you see the number of cities there, that is something that would be considered. That being said, because it is such a large region across North America, we want to have the ability to spread the venues across a wide area, if possible. Christic said the fact that Sunil Gulati, chairman of the bid committee, is facing opposition in his role as U.S. Soccer Federation president will not impact the World Cup hosting efforts. Gulati has not decided whether to seek a fourth term. 3 candidates have come forth, with the election taking place in February. He has done a tremendous amount over the course of his career to support the game's development, and we welcome the support that he continues to give us on the bid, Christic said. What happens beyond that is really in the process of the governance of U.S. soccer. Nothing changes for the task at hand, which is to pull together our bid to meet all of FIFA's requirements. Meanwhile, a poll shows 77% of North American residents are in favor of hosting the 2026 tournament and 81% of respondents across the 3 countries agree that hosting the World Cup would be good for their specific country. Almost 6 in 10, 57%, said they would be interested in attending matches if the games were played near where they live or work.